Welcome everyone. In today's session, we will be focusing on the basic difference between the two manifestations of language known as speech and writing. We can communicate in the same language through two mediums. One is the spoken medium, another one is the written medium. In almost all the languages, the medium of speech is often regarded as the most important than that of writing. Speech is primary and writing is secondary. There are various reasons to point out for this kind of distinction between speech and writing. The first point is speech comes first in any language community, and writing was invented only subsequently. In fact, when we look into the history of writing, we can see that it is a few centuries of history. But when it comes to speech, it is us almost all this mankind. The second basic difference between speech and writing is in our everyday life, especially the life of an individual. What comes first? It is obviously speech comes first. We start speaking long before we start writing. So speech is acquired automatically by children from their immediate linguistic environment to which they are being exposed to. And but when we are looking at writing, it came as a conscious process. No one taught us speech. We started speaking. We started, kind of acquiring the language from our surrounding, especially the linguistic surrounding where we belong to, and started communicating. But when it comes to speech, someone has deliberately taught us how to write the alphabets, the letters, the symbols of a particular language. That's why it is known as it is taught to you, it is a conscious process. So speech is a natural way of getting, and when it comes to writing, it's not automatically happening, it is a conscious process. The third difference between speech and writing is the medium of speech is much more frequently used in our daily lives rather than medium of writing. So if I wanted to tell you something, instead of writing and showing this to you, immediately I'll be communicating it through my speech. So that's why everyday life, for our immediate communication, we always resort to speech, not to the written form. And the fourth difference between speech and writing is the written form of language is just an attempt of representing the spoken form with the help of certain symbols, alphabets, and letters. Every human community essentially has a language, and that language will be there in the form of spoken form. There are even communities in which speech is only means of communication, writing being unknown to them. So there are many languages. So we can say that the another difference between speech and writing is speech is there in all the languages, not writing is not necessary. And the next difference is when we look at the modern technologies like inventions like microphone, television, telephone, radio, tape recorder, the initial phase of the technology, let's say the 20th century, 19th or 20th century, they supported or they have considerably contributed to the importance of speech. Nowadays, more things have come up. Social media has become very popular, but again, they're trying to balance between speech and writing. So even though we are studying or discussing about the difference between speech and writing, and we are considering that speech is primary and writing is secondary, uh, as a linguist or as a person who uses language, we should not belittle the importance of writing. Speech and writing are in fact two modes of communication, and it is complementary in its function. Speech is actually the oral form making use of the phonic substance, that is the speech sounds. And writing is the graphic form making use of the graphic substance, that is written symbols like alphabets, letters, or symbols. So speech has a privilege over writing. Speech can utilize the extra linguistic features like gestures, facial expression, stress, pitch, intonation. All these are possible. But when it comes to writing, that it has very limited resources, that is very confined. It can only resort to alphabets or the symbols and the punctuation marks. So we should in fact consider speech and writing as different modes of or manifestations of the same phenomenon called language. And each has its own unique characteristics, and one is not inferior or superior to others. Thank you.